Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking a look inside one of India's more, well, intriguing construction firms, Man Infra Construction Limited. You might know them as MICL.
Yeah, and the source material we've got here, mostly their investor presentation from Q1 FY26, so August 2025. It presents this real puzzle.
It really does. How does a company operating mainly in the Mumbai metropolitan region, which, let's be honest, is famous for delays, consistently deliver projects early, sometimes months, even years ahead?
That's the core question. So our mission today is basically to dig into their sources, pull apart this story, and, figure out how they seem to be defying gravity in that market.
Okay, so we'll trace it back, look at their dual business model, infrastructure, and real estate.
Uh-huh. And check out their financials, which are surprisingly strong, and see how that fuels their expansion even into the U.S. market.
Right. Let's start with that foundation, the infrastructure side. It kind of gets overshadowed by the flashy real estate stuff, but their roots go way back, right? 1964.
Exactly. Over 60 years. And they didn't start with the luxury apartments. They started with serious heavy-duty engineering, procurement, construction, EPC work.
That background must count for something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, that decades-long experience in tough EPC contracts, that rigorous engineering DNA, is probably what makes them different today. It wasn't just a quick pivot.
A prime example is their work in the port sector, right? These are massive, complex projects.
Precisely. Think about this. They landed the contract to build India's first international private port. That was for P&O Ports, which is now DP World, back in 1997.
Wow, okay. Building something like that demands world-class precision, project management.
You got it. Compliance, engineering rigor, the works. And they didn't just do one project.
No. So what's the scale now?
Well, they're connected with 5 major Indian ports. They've worked for huge names like AP Mahler Group, PSA Group.
PSA Group, wasn't there a big recent contract there?
Yeah, good point. In 2022, they secured a massive 1,340 crore rupee order from PSA. That was just for the Phase 2 expansion at JNPT port.
Okay, so they're still very active in heavy infra. It's not just ancient history. What's the current order book look like?
As of June 2025, the EPC order book was around 416 crore. Plus, they've got ongoing port and other infra projects covering about 110 hectares.
So that deep expertise managing these huge, complex projects, that's kind of their secret weapon, even in real estate.
I think that's the key link people miss. The discipline needed to deliver a multi-billion rupee port on time. That's the same mindset, the same process control they seem to apply to building a residential tower. Standardized processes, tight contracts, efficient logistics.
Which brings us neatly to the real estate side. And this is where it gets, well, almost unbelievable.
Yeah, the big claim.
The claim in their investor presentation. A perfect track record. Yeah. All 19 completed projects delivered before schedule.
And not just by a week or two. We're talking like 6 months, up to 2 years early on some projects.
2 years. Okay, why does that matter so much for, someone watching the Mumbai market?
Well, you know this. In Mumbai, getting the occupancy certificate, the OC, that's the golden ticket, it confirms the building's actually ready.
And it's often the biggest bottleneck, right? Bureaucracy, final checks, causes huge delays.
Exactly. So MICL seems to use that infrastructure project management discipline to just cut through a lot of those construction and bureaucratic hurdles faster.
And buyers notice that reliability.
Apparently so. The data suggests almost 90% of their inventory is sold before they even get the OC.
That's huge buyer confidence.
It really is, and it creates this virtuous cycle. Quick sales, early delivery means less capital tied up.
Right, less risk.
And you see it in the numbers. Across over 4,300 completed units, they had only 28 unsold as of June 2025. That's practically zero inventory risk on finished projects.
And they're not building small stuff either. They're deep into high-rise redevelopment, luxury, even uber luxury in the MMR.
Yeah, like Aradhya Avan in Tardeo. The plan is for it to be one of India's tallest residential towers, over 1,000 feet high.
Wow. Sales potential on that.
Around 3,000 crore, potentially. And they're spreading out within MMR2, Jade Park in Vileparle, Aradhya 1 Park in Ghatkopar. They're clearly aiming to dominate that premium high-rise segment.
Okay, let's unpack the engine behind this. How do they fund this speed and scale? You mentioned an asset-light strategy. Sounds efficient.
It is. They use a mix of models owning projects outright through subsidiaries, sure, but also joint ventures, JVs, joint development agreements, JDAs, and importantly, the development manager or DM model.
Why the mix? Why not just own everything?
Well, it's about risk mitigation and scaling faster. The asset light part, especially focusing on DM and JV models, lets them use their expertise, that 60 years of getting things done without needing to put up all the cash for every single project, buying all the land.
So they're leveraging their skill, their brand, not just their balance sheet.
Exactly. Think of the DM model. It's like a top chef hired to design and run the kitchen for a fancy new restaurant.
Yeah.
The chef brings the talent, the process, the name, and gets a fee. The restaurant owner pays for the building, the expensive setup.
Okay, got it. And that distinction is really important when you look at their financials, right? For someone tracking their revenue.
Absolutely crucial because, if it's their own project, the full sale value shows up in their consolidated revenue, the top line. Simple enough.
Right.
But for a DM project like that huge Aradia Avan tower, only the fee they charge, usually a percentage of sales, hits their top line and their profit before tax, the PBT.
So that entire 3,000 crore potential doesn't actually flow through their main revenue line.
Nope. Only the management fee does. And similarly, if it's a JV, like Atmosphere Tower G in Mulund, only their share of the profit makes it to the bottom line, the profit after tax, or PAA.
So this strategy lets them claim this massive sales visibility, what was it, over 11,800 crores from current and upcoming projects.
Yeah, about 4.8 million square feet, roughly.
Without having to fund it all themselves, they're using their execution skill as leverage.
That's the idea. Multiply their footprint without multiplying their capital risk proportionally.
Okay, but let's push back a bit. Zero secured debt sounds great, but does relying so much on these asset-light models, like DM, mean they give up some control, or maybe leave some profit on the table in the long run?
That's the trade-off, definitely. It limits their risk, yes, but they are sharing the potential upside with partners or landowners.
So it's a strategic choice.
Yeah. For a company focused on scaling fast, it often makes sense. They seem to prioritize speed, capital efficiency, maybe brand reach, over maximizing profit on every single deal.
Okay, speaking of efficiency and capital, let's talk financials. Profitability, PBT, and PIG margins. Quick reminder for listeners.
Sure. PBT, profit before tax, shows operating efficiency. Patchy profit after tax, that's the net profit, the bottom line for shareholders.
And MICL's numbers for Q1 FY26 look pretty healthy.
Very healthy. PBT margin was 35.4%. PAT margin, after accounting for what goes to non-controlling interests, was 24.6%. Those are strong margins, especially in construction.
But the real headline here, I think, is the balance sheet.
Oh, absolutely. As of June 2025, the company states zero secured debt. Zero.
That's remarkable in this industry.
It is. And they're net cash positive. They had cash and equivalents of about 641 crores. Being debt-free like that gives you incredible flexibility, resilience if the market turns.
And the credit rating agencies noticed.
Yep. CARE upgraded them to A+ stable back in October 2024. That kind of financial strength seems to be what's enabling their next big move.
The global expansion, USA, Miami, Florida specifically, that seems like a leap.
It is, and it's not just anywhere in the U.S. They're targeting the ultra-luxury branded residence space. They've got a project in Fort Lauderdale, 551 Bayshore.
That's the Ritz-Carlton Residences.
That's the one. 83 luxury units. MICL Global, their international arm, has a 25% stake.
Why Miami, though? Isn't that like peak competition for luxury high-rises?
It is competitive, but think about their strength. High-rise execution. The Florida ultra-luxury market is hot, and it demands exactly the kind of complex, large-scale luxury towers MICL has experience building in Mumbai.
So they're exporting their core skill.
Pretty much. And partnering with a name like Ritz-Carlton gives them instant brand credibility in a new market. It's a way to showcase their delivery capability on a global stage.
Interesting. Using that infrastructure discipline to challenge established U.S. players. And it's not just one project.
No, they mentioned upcoming projects in Brickell and Coconut Grove, too, both prime Miami areas, so they seem committed to building a real presence there.
Okay, so wrapping this up for our listeners, what's the main takeaway here?
I think the success story, as presented in these sources, really comes down to that synergy. Taking the deep, hard-won expertise from complex infrastructure like ports.
Yeah, the heavy engineering side.
And applying that discipline, that process rigor, to real estate. Combining it with an asset-light model allows them to deliver quickly, sell quickly, and scale rapidly. Building ports helps them build condos faster, essentially.
And that leads to that amazing early delivery record.
Right, delivering towers 12, even 24 months early. Now, we should acknowledge the market context. Stock prices fluctuate.
Yeah, you mentioned the chart data showed volatility. Man and Orco, the stock code, was around 146.5 INR, but
Yeah.
saw a drop over 21% between late 2024 and late 2025.
Exactly. Market sentiment shifts, things happen, but that financial structure we talked about, zero secured debt, net cash positive,
That gives them a buffer. Resilience.
you'd think so. It potentially allows them to weather short-term market storms because their underlying model minimizes debt risk and keeps cash flowing from those fast project turnovers.
So here's maybe the final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Given everything we've discussed, the zero debt, the strong financials, but also this bold move into the ultra-competitive U.S. luxury market,
Yeah, betting on high-profile projects like the Ritz-Carlton residences in Florida.
what's the real long-term picture here? Is this disciplined, India-focused developer risking too much by jumping into the deep end of the American luxury pool? Or is this actually the ultimate proof that their unique model, honed in Mumbai, can actually scale and succeed anywhere?
That's the big question, isn't it? They've crossed a new frontier. We'll have to see how it plays out.